Welcome to Beyond the Numbers, a podcast that explores the human side of money. Before we begin, please note the following important disclosures. Securities and advisory services are offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member, FINRA, SIPC. Individual tax and legal matters should be discussed with your tax or legal professional. Economic forecasts set forth may not develop as predicted, and there can be no guarantee that strategies promoted will be successful. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. There is no assurance that the techniques and strategies discussed are suitable for all investors or will yield positive outcomes. The purchase of certain securities may be required to affect some of the strategies mentioned. Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. With that out of the way, let's get started. All right, we're live. We're rolling.
Second episode.
What
are we going to talk about?
I was hoping you would know.
Oh, okay. This will be a short episode.
All right, we ready to start the third one?
Sure.
All right.
How about the second one? Then we'll do the third.
Ooh, like Quentin Tarantino style. You know, actually, I saw the other day that I can't remember all the details of it, but there's a new show. I think it's on Netflix that each episode is independent. Do you know what I'm talking about? You can watch the show in any order you want. So,
for example, The Twilight Zone, because it's
a
self-contained episode.
No, there's tons of that.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be revolutionary.
That's why I was questioning the premise.
It's a story. It's a start to finish story. And the episodes are not numbered. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4. They're like color coded.
Yeah, okay.
I think. I don't know all the details.
I want to watch episode blue.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then purple, and then orange, and then white, and it'll still make sense to you. But I could watch it in an entirely different order, and it would still make the same sense to me.
That's brilliant.
I want to see it. I don't know that it's brilliant yet, because that's all I know about it. But the concept is fascinating. I have no idea how you would approach that.
Yeah, so what that means, you know, I write a little bit on the side and screenplays, and you do that. You do it in the editing process and in the writing process. So let's move this scene here and that scene there.
Sure.
And that'll make some sense. But in order to, I'm just thinking this, the first time I ever heard this.
Yeah.
Gosh, I mean, it would just have to, everything would have to be a circle. Every episode would have to be a circle.
Yeah, true. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah,
and the circles would meet like that, but the circle would have to meet in each episode. That's crazy. How does this have to do with finance?
Doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah, we were just talking about doing the episodes in random order, and it made me think that my ADHD brain just was like, oh, a squirrel over here. Okay. But speaking of finding random stuff on Instagram, I came across another story that was really interesting that does have to do with finance.
That's good.
It was about the Vanderbilt family. Oh. Do you know anything about the Vanderbilts?
They were rich. They were, what, 1800s, 1900s?
1820 is when it all kind of, like the spark that everything started. And then they were like a mogul in like 1860, I think.
What did they do?
Transportation. So it started with shipping and then went into the rail business.
Trains.
Yeah. And then controlled like, I don't want to I'm not an expert on this. I just, came across the story, but it's something about the East Coast, maybe the Northeast, or they had a huge control monopoly over the rail system.
Right.
I think on the East Coast. Again, if there's a historian watching this.
Did that have anything to do with the government getting involved in breaking up some of these monopolies?
I think it had to do with so the founder of it was Commodore Cornelius Vanderbilt.
Sounds like a rich guy.
But he wasn't at first.
He wasn't.
He was at 11 years old. This is fascinating. 11 years old. He dropped out of school. He borrowed I think it was like $100 and bought a little sailboat. And that's where it all started. So he took that sailboat, built a huge shipping fleet, got into the logistics business, right? Because that's the real business with transportation. It doesn't matter what vehicle, it's the logistics. And then took
getting things from A to B.
Correct. Exactly. And then took that and built this like massive railroad business. And then so he used aggressive tactics. So I think, monopolization was like one of his, but what he was a visionary and built this massive empire, ended up amassing like $200 billion back then. Or maybe that was in today's dollars. I think that's today's dollars. Okay. So $200 billion, but that's a lot of money.
He was Gates, Musk, Soros, those guys, Zuckerberg. They were that. I mean, about that rich.
That is all interesting. I love that. I want to go back and learn more about that. But what really sparked my interest was, you would think $200 billion, like how many generations should that last in your mind? Forever. You're right.
Infinite.
Yeah. Like how do generations?
So easy.
Well, they did. They ran. So by the 6th generation.
Okay.
Anderson Cooper.
Yeah.
Was in the 6th generation. Did you know he was a Vanderbilt?
Now that you say it, I did. But I would never have brought it back now.
No family money by the time it got to Anderson Cooper.
No kidding.
None. Gone. So then started digging a little bit deeper into that, because like now my brain, I'm super curious. Like, how does this happen? It happens all the time. It's like 70% of families by whatever generation. I think the 2nd generation, maybe the 2nd or 3rd. It's really soon. The money's gone.
Well, you and I deal with people that have inherited money, and sometimes they're most of the time they're wonderful people, but the problem is that they think, because they're rich, that they're smart about money. And that may be the case, but it's usually it would be luck if they were, or a random chance, because the guy that built the business, well, let's just say he built a cookie empire. That guy was the guy that had the idea, he had the drive, he had the brilliance, he had the moxie and the personality to make it work. Then he gives it to his children, and they all see how hard Dad worked. They know that they were poor at one time, or certainly not as wealthy as they are. They see it, so they are good stewards of the money. By 3rd generation, they don't have a clue, and that's a real issue in keeping wealth, is there's no connection to
It seems like magic to them.
Yes, or luck. Or the guy was a bad guy, he stole from everybody. He may have, but there are lots of people who got rich and did it without hurting anybody. As a matter of fact, they created massive wealth for lots of people and took care of their employees, et cetera. Yeah.
So, I think that's so important for everyone. Because like we can look at a story like this and we could think, oh, I don't have Vanderbilt money. I'm probably never going to have Vanderbilt. So this doesn't apply to me. But some of these concepts do. And so to your point, I think you've got this guy. He's obviously a visionary from a very young age. I mean, there's some kind of gift, maybe. Maybe there is some luck. But I think that when I look at a lot of these people, one consistent thing I see is that they're not the only brilliant person. One of the smartest things that they do is surround themselves with smart
100%.
people.
100%.
So they've got advisors that they're listening to. They've got money people and logistics, and they're bringing in like the best of the best to help scale their organization. But to your point, they're not necessarily passing that information on. And I think this is the part that can relate to all of us, not even just in the financial realm, is like being self-aware of the example that I'm modeling and being really intentional about passing that information to the next generation, right? Because I might assume, even 1st generation, that my son's just picking it up. He sees my tax guy. He sees my the things I'm doing. He sees the way I'm running the household. But I'm never having an intentional conversation with him about, like, this is what I'm doing and this is why it works. Or, hey, here's the mistakes that I made. This is why I'm doing it this way.
Look. This is what you're saying is so important, and it's important not only for finance. It's important for ethics. So many good people have kids that have really go off, doing horrible things, and I think that they, for a lot of times, as everybody has their own, or is responsible for themselves, but a lot of times they forgot to instill the ethics that made mom and dad who they are. So you have to stop and really say, this is why we do this.
Yeah, because you think they're just soaking it up. Yeah, and I think it is two parts. I mean, there isn't, I don't mean to say that there's not an element of like, be the change. You have to model the example because they are soaking up what you're doing and your behavior.
But you have to be intentional.
But you also have to be intentional. And you did this the other day, actually, I hate to feed your ego, but this was really cool. And I noticed this. We were out in the garden and we were talking about, I wish I remembered what it was. It was something. And Jude was there listening and you stopped and explained it to Jude. It was something about money, actually. And this is why, and you were really intentional about making sure that he wasn't just being a passive, bystander in that conversation, that he was actually making the connection and realizing that this is how money works and why we're doing it.
Yeah, now you have to put it together. And I think you made a point earlier that I think is important for our business and anybody listening to this that's considering us or anyone for financial planner. A good planner is a part of your team. And we're here to like Vanderbilt surrounded himself with brilliant people and hopefully you're surrounding yourself with a team of people that know how to either help you make wealth or help you secure it. If you're older, you get back to Will Rogers, right, who said, lately I've been less concerned with the return on my money than simply the return of my money. So the older you get, you're like, I don't really need to make any more, but I can't afford to lose it. So that's part of a team. But but in order to build a team and to build a plan, you have to be intentional. You just have to be intentional. You have to say, I'm bringing this person on my team. And then you got to know who to listen to, right? I mean, you got to listen to somebody. So find people that primarily, most people in our business are really good people. I mean, the vast majority really good people. Some got C's on their exams, some got A's on their exams, some can be brilliant and you don't know what they're saying. You ever been around somebody that smart and they keep talking, what they're talking about? Maybe it's talking physics, and the next person explains physics and you go, from my mind, I kind of understand exactly what quantum physics is from the standpoint of at least a layman. So you have to be able to communicate.
So I have an advantage here because I did some research into wealth transfers and why they fail, but I'm going to hold my advantage for a second because I'm competitive, as are you, and I want to win. But I'm being fair because I told you. But I'm curious, like if you were to just speculate, because I speculated, and my immediate reaction. Well, let me just ask yours first.
Yeah.
So what other than what you just laid out, lack of being intentional and passing that knowledge down. Why do you think such a high percentage of wealth transfers fail by the second or third generation? Is there anything else?
Yeah, I think you probably are taking too much risk. So that something called a sequence of returns risk catches you. That would be just, again, coming into your question cold, that would be the first thing that I could.
So the family has the money invested too aggressively and they're taking withdrawals from it.
Yeah, and also I would add to that we've seen this, we call it Harley Davidson money, somebody that's barely getting by or getting by is lower middle class or blue collar or whatever. Or even middle class, and they inherit more money than whatever it is. If it's 100,000 or it's 5 million, you can scale it. But whatever it is, they see more money than they've ever seen in their life, and they go, instead of investing it, they go buy a Harley Davidson, which is a euphemism for a depreciating asset. So I think that can also make it. But what's your answer?
Yeah. So that's good. So that a lot of that points to financial planning. Yes. So actually where I went to, right, was like, it's because poor financial planning. And obviously we go there, we're a little biased towards that. Yeah. But that was 3% of the reason it failed was fine. So they do fail for those reasons, for sure. 3% of the reason it failed. The vast majority was communication breakdowns.
Explain.
I don't know. I can speculate, but that's what it said. 85% was communication breakdowns.
So your wealth
within the
is
family.
blown because of communication breakdowns.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? Does that mean I hate you, so I'm not communicating with you?
Yeah, it means there's intercommunication issues between the family. So you got to understand what we're talking about in this instance is it's not transferring from one person to another person. Like $200 billion isn't going to an individual. This is a family transfer.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I do think that there's a distinction there, right? Like if you're just giving it to your three kids versus like setting up an estate, that's going to be like for setting up a trust. It's going to be for a whole family. I think that's a little bit different, but the biggest reason was communication issues around the family.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it broke down. It was like 85%.
Okay. So what do we do to stop that?
I don't know. What do you think?
I can give you a family example.
Okay.
So my mom's side of the family inherited the land that a paper mill was on. Actually, her great uncle, I believe, lent the paper mill the land, or rented the paper mill the land that they were going to build the mill on. Had a 99-year lease. Well, the 99-year lease came up. Now, when he was renting them the land, it was him and his wife. 99 years later, it was 200 or 300 people, maybe more than that, because every time somebody died, it split, and there wasn't a direct, this person gets this. So it just the percentages that each person owned in the family got smaller and smaller. And my mother, being a good business person, tried to buy up various people's shares. She was somewhat successful, but couldn't really make it happen, because you got that many people. You got some jerks in there. You got some people that don't understand it at all. So really nothing occurred that she couldn't get a consensus. So what happened was the attorney had been passed down the authority from 99 years ago. Same company, they had the authority, and the folks got virtually nothing, $100 each to renew another 99 years. The attorney got a massive fee.
Wow.
So you want to not do anything, the attorneys are going to win.
Yeah, that's a really interesting example. So bring it back to financial planning. You've seen a lot of different wealth transfers. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time. You've got a few more years under your belt than me.
45.
Yeah. Not 45 more than me, though. Just 45 total.
Just 45 total.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just trying to get the score.
No, that's right.
The scorecard straight.
Right.
How many of I'm sure that you've seen successful transfers and you've seen unsuccessful transfers. What are the key things that you've identified in successful transfers and unsuccessful? And I want to make sure that it's really clear that I'm just talking about transfer. I think that a lot of times we start talking about estate transfers, people might check out to say this doesn't apply to me. I'm not going to have a lot of money. Yeah. I'm talking about transfers of $10,000 all the way up to several $1 million.
Mm-hmm. And the question is,
what have you seen that works? What instances have you seen that worked, and then what caused them to work?
Try to know exactly what you want, and then understand doing nothing is probably the worst thing you can do. I don't know if this kid's going to be good with this money. Set it up and get something in writing, and know that you can change it till you die under most circumstances. If it's an annuity, an IRA, a 403B, a life insurance policy, a bunch of different things, you can set it up under a beneficiary. Set up the beneficiaries. Number one is who's primary. Usually it's your spouse. And number two, it's your kids. If you don't have any kids, appoint somebody, because if you appoint a church, I've seen nieces and nephews. I had one guy that had somebody that took care of him when he was in Jamaica. He didn't have any other heirs, but he had gotten sick. This family in Jamaica took care of him. They got his money. But he assigned them, took the time to get their address and their names and all of that, and assign it to them. So take the time to care and to set it up, because if you don't, the state is going to take you, and the feds are going to take your estate, which I think, you can hate your kids, but you probably hate the IRS more.
Yeah. So if estate planning is what we call it when we're talking about wealth transfer. And I think, again, I hate to keep harping on this, but I really think it's super important to be clear. Is like people hear estate planning and they think, oh, that's for wealthy people. Mm-hmm. I always tell people that estate planning is about two things: effective and efficient transfer of wealth. Those are the two things that we're looking at. So what does that mean? Well, efficient means quick and low cost. Mm-hmm. When I say efficient in this context, I mean quick and low cost. Like we're trying to do it as fast as possible. Is make it easy on the next generation, right. And we're trying to do it for as least legal fees, the smallest amount of legal fees, the smallest amount of. So we're trying to do things like avoid probate. We're trying to do things like get the lawyers out wherever we can. No offense to lawyers, but they cost money, and they should. They have a job to do. Right. But if we can do that job ahead of time by properly setting it up, then that's going to reduce the overall cost to the family. So that's the two things that we're looking at. And I think that's a really useful lens to view it through. And that applies to everyone that owns anything.
No, that's right.
If you own something, then you probably have a wish for that. That's the other part I didn't get to, was the effective. So the effective is doing exactly what you want it to do, right? So you want it to be efficient, cost least amount of cost, quick as possible, and effective. Do exactly what you want. It's your stuff. So there's something that you want if you got to pick, most likely for most people. It may be a chair. It's going to look different for everyone. Yeah. But there's something that it's like, I want my stuff to do this. And that's what estate planning is.
Well, and don't get paralyzed by I'm not sure. I mean, you need to go with your gut, and then change it if your gut tells you to change it a bit. But let's talk about efficiencies for a second. Mm-hmm. Number one, if you don't do a trust, you're going to go, but even if you have a will or you don't, you're going to probate court. A will is a ticket to probate court, so you're going to go to probate court. If you want to avoid probate court, then you're going to need different types of trusts, with one real exception. And that is that you name a beneficiary. Mm-hmm. So you name a beneficiary. That is the most efficient, the most lockdown thing you can do. Getting a court to overturn a beneficiary, it may have happened, but I don't think
I don't think so. I think there's been some cases that have gone up to the Supreme Court and got turned down. It's rock solid. I mean, it's rock solid.
I had a client that died, and the only thing that anyone agreed on was that the fourth wife was hated by all. The first wife was hated by all. All the other wives got along. All the other children got along. He forgot to change the beneficiary on a major account. It was she got it. Mm-hmm. They called. They said they wanted to argue. I said, let me save you money. Go to an attorney for sure, but I'm telling you, it's over. Go. He had some other money. That's what you're going to get. Wow. So the first wife, which everybody hated, got that money that he forgot to change the beneficiary on that one account.
That's an example of efficient but ineffective. Right. It got there, but it didn't follow your wishes, and so I think that's why that's so important. So we could go into a whole. I mean, this is a whole big topic, and there's lots to discuss here. I think the most important thing that I'm trying to get across is to get engaged in it. Mm-hmm. If it's something that you've put off because you think I'll deal with that later, because it's uncomfortable, because it doesn't apply to me, I would assert that it probably does if you have some. So the first thing is engage in it. The second thing, and just kind of looping back to where we started, was, and again, this doesn't apply to everybody, but for people who do care, that do want whatever they've worked hard to build to continue on. If you have a vision of, I'd love for this to continue to get passed on, what are some things that you can do? And we've talked about several of those. One is fostering good communication between the family from the onset.
Right.
passing that information down, being really intentional, involving them in the conversations. Money is such a weird topic because we've made it taboo in our society to talk about. And it's ingrained in us really early. Don't talk about money. Don't tell people your salary. Don't talk about money. And so then this gets carried on unknowingly from generation. You need to talk about money with your kids. You need to get them involved. You need to have them start doing stuff and being stewards of money now at a very young age. That's something that I'm lucky that I've been in this profession and seen that I was able to do with my kids. We start getting them on actually earning money and then, forced savings right now because we're trying to develop those habits of when you get money, this is what you do.
Yeah. And I think within that as financial planners, we encourage, folks as they get a little older or whenever they want to do it to bring the children in. It could be on a Zoom. We do a lot of appointments on Zoom. We have clients all over the country, so we're doing a lot of Zoom calls. But bring the kids in, and we ask beforehand, is there any part of this you don't want us to discuss?
And it's fine if you don't.
It's
totally fine. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you have to open up your books to your kids.
Right. Yeah, especially not George.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just made that up.
Classic George.
Whatever. But I mean, no, there's you want to have those discussions, and in particular, if they're going to be a possibility of being a caregiver as you get older, you want to make sure they at least know what they're stepping into, and have some sort of background in it. And it's funny, when you get on the phone with kids, some of them are financially astute and others aren't. But I mean, really, what you're doing is trying to help the kids understand why you're doing what you're doing for their parents. And I had a kind of a fun conversation where a guy, a child, got on the phone. He managed a major hedge fund, and which is, if you don't know what that is, that's a very risky way to manage money, and it's not for the faint of heart. And so I thought, man, he's gonna be happy with me because I'm concerned with the return on of the money,
right? Like you were saying earlier,
than the return on, as Will Rogers, but on the money. And I want to simply you tailor what you do to the client, and the client said, just keep up with inflation, which is how the plan was tailored. Anyway, I went through the presentation fully expecting to get my head handed to me, and guy said, that's great. That's great. I said, well, you manage a hedge fund. He said, yeah, but not for my mom.
Yeah, my mom's not a hedge fund. Yeah.
So, but that's good. I mean, because then we got it out, and when she started getting dementia, he and I had a relationship, and he knew what I was doing. I certainly trusted him. He trusted me, and it's still going well. She's still alive, and it still has some of her faculties, but not enough to manage her money anymore. But he and I now have a conversation, and we've had enough history where we can run shorthand with each other and be comfortable that he can be comfortable I'm taking care of his mom, and I can be comfortable that he's comfortable.
Yeah.
Which is
a lot of our listeners probably have grown kids now, right? So there's those opportunities for being intentional have passed, and that's fine. So I think that a lot of people could dismiss that and be like, a great Ryan, like that's awesome that you have this insight and you're able to do those things now, but my kids are 40.
Right.
But again, I think that there's still an opportunity to get them involved. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. Like if you're listening to this right now, like begin that conversation by just at least opening up the doors and scheduling a time to sit down And one, start just having a conversation about your wishes, having a conversation about whatever part of your finances that you're comfortable sharing. It doesn't have to be details. It doesn't have to be dollar amounts, but just, a general idea.
Well, it's okay. It's okay if you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying it doesn't have to be. Oh yeah, you could. Some people are. Some people are perfectly comfortable.
I can tell you, I am.
I am too.
Yeah,
I am too.
Here's what I got.
But there's no
you
judgment.
can't have it, but here's what I have.
There's no judgment there if you're not, is all I'm saying. Right. Don't let that stop you.
Right.
That's not the important part. That can be a helpful part. It can be helpful if they know like specifics, but it's not the critical part. The critical part is having the conversation, getting them involved, introducing them to your professionals, letting them know, hey, these are my professionals, and this is why I've chosen to have them on my team. This is, what works really well. So that they have that knowledge moving forward, so they know that don't make assumptions is what I'm saying. At the end of the day, that's what I'm really saying. Don't assume that they know what you want. Don't assume that they know what to do.
And here's the thing. A lot of people are good at estate planning. They understand it. A lot of people are good at financial planning and managing their own money or whatever. But it pays to have a professional take a look at it. No lawyer is ever their own lawyer. I can tell you I'm real good at managing stocks. When it comes to my financial planning, I have, people within my firm that look at my own account just to make sure I haven't missed any. And I would suggest that it might be a good idea for many people on this call to do that. If you're interested in talking to us, we're available. 301-990-9704. Or also check out the information on the.
We'll put it somewhere.
We'll put it on the page somewhere.
We'll put it somewhere
on the screen where you guys can see it. If you want to call us the complimentary consultation, we'd love to talk to you. Complimentary, leave your checkbook. We just want to see if there's a match and we can help you and go from there.
Yeah, and if you're already a client of ours and we haven't had the conversation about estate planning, or we haven't got your kids involved,
or we've had it and you hadn't done it.
Yeah. Dan, that never happened.
Never happened.
But let's get that started. Let's get the ball rolling. This is so critically important that you take a look. So start somewhere and just get the ball rolling. That's the best that I can say. If this has been helpful to you, if you found this conversation interesting, make sure to smash that subscribe button, as they say. And what's that face?
Well, I don't even. What does that even mean?
Smash the subscribe button. You gotta you don't just click it. You smash it.
See.
I think.
I just figured out how to subscribe to stuff, man.
Do you smash the subscribe button?
No, I just kind of, push the...
No, you've been doing it wrong. I don't want to tell you you're doing it wrong, but you're doing it wrong.
All right.
If you're a listener out there, I highly encourage you to smash the subscribe button.
There you go.
And then like us, send us to your friends, do all the things. Subscribe to us on all the platforms. We're still in the early stages. If you're listening to this episode, I hope, to learn and improve. And we'd love your feedback too. If you have feedback, things that you would like to hear, love to hear it. We're super malleable at this point.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Thanks for listening, guys. And we'll see you on the next round.
See ya.
Bye.